I don't know if you can see the water.
I can. That's beautiful, man. All right. We are live, dude. We're recording. I am with Johnny Loewy, man. I am so excited to have you on. We've been in conversation for over a year. I've learned a lot about you, your company, the direction you're going, your vision, and just a high-level overview so people could get an idea of who you are. So you're a national trainer, speaker, founder, president of Right Realty International Corp. And this is what shocked me. You began your career 30 years ago. You don't look old enough, but you must have started when you were 10.
I love it. That's a great way to start off an interview, man. I love it.
And you've been a top producing realtor and broker across the U.S., named top 50 realtors in 2007 by the Wall Street Journal, which is a huge honor. And now we're working closely with you and Right Realty on so many different things. And I'm like, I got to sit this guy down and talk to you because your vision, your mission, and I think one key thing that I always caught on with you is you're all about your agents. How do I take care of my agents? How do I get them into production? How do I understand their goals? How do we help them achieve what they need to achieve? And I admire that. It's inspirational, and I needed to talk to you about that. So Johnny, quick 30 seconds, man. Who are you? What, other than this, who are you?
I'm going to tell you, my main focus is to change people's lives. This business can do so much for so many people. And a lot of times people don't really understand exactly what this business can do for them. And they're always trying to change who they are. I guess for myself, I'm a talent scout. I look at people and I say, you got greatness inside you, and it's up to us to be able to bring that greatness out. And for some individuals, for some agents, it's being a top producer. It's running a real estate team or someday owning their own brokerage. Mm-hmm. So for me, I'd say if someone said, tell me about Johnny Loewy, I'd say, you know what, my job is to change people's lives, to make them great when they sometimes even had a little bit of shadow of a doubt for themselves. We want to, take away that doubt and show them what they really can accomplish. I think, with anything else, I used to ride racehorses for a living way back in the day. That was 30 years and probably 30 pounds ago. And I can share with you, I've ridden a lot of racehorses, and I used to tell people, I'd say, you give me a horse that's got heart, right? The heart to run, the drive to run. I said, I'll take a horse with heart over a horse with champion bloodlines any day of the week. And that's the same thing with agents. You give me an agent that's got some heart, a broker that's got some heart, that really puts people first and is worried about the paycheck later. Listen, I firmly believe with any profession that's out there, not just real estate, if you focus on helping the individual and helping them to become great, the money follows, man. People are so concerned about, money, money, money. I said, money follows you, man. Just put your heart out there and get the good in people.
I love that, man. And I've always heard that phrase, bet on the horse, not the race.
It's true.
Right.
Bet on the jockey.
Yeah. Especially bet on the jockey.
Yeah,
So where do you see, I know we're short on time today, but where do you see, there's so much talk about the real estate industry evolving, right? And into what's coming up in 2020, what does the next 5 years look like? So, you are the owner of the brokerage, you're a franchise model, you're franchising out your brand, and you're growing rapidly, which is super awesome. Congrats on that. And with that, what are some of the successes and struggles that brokers can really count on, knowing that, okay, this is going to happen and this is how we can help correct that?
And if I understand what you're asking me from a broker standpoint, correct?
Correct.
With brokers, I tell them recruiting solves every problem within a brokerage. You've got to be able to recruit agents by the dozens and, quite frank, sometimes fire them by the half dozens. Not everybody's going to make it in this business, but a good broker, a broker who's going to be solid in the business, has the ability to recruit and grow quickly. We brought our first franchisee on. We just got approved. I mean, gosh, Jesse, we got approved 4.5, almost 5 months ago. We've sold 5 franchises, which is, great start. My first broker that opened, Lisa Takis, is down in Riverview. I mean, I shared with her. I said, listen, before you open, you've got to have the right solid foundation, which means the right technology. And that's where Zippy comes in, and several other platforms that we use that help give us that solid foundation that we can grow on. Because we know if we try to grow and build anything on a weak foundation, it's going to collapse. So
100%.
Once she was set in place and once she had that foundation, well, then it was off to the races, and it was recruit, recruit, recruit. And I'm happy to say, she's been open for, actually, it was 4 months on the 15th of this month. 4 months she was open, and she has signed and recruited 57 agents in 4 months. That's pretty darn good growth for a brand new office and a new brand. So, but, we work really hard to create an effective brand in our town. And when we go in and we go to help a broker grow, we say, listen, it's about recruiting, but it's also about getting agents to understand who you are. And agents have a lot of opportunities where they work. And, as a broker, brokers think, oh, it's all about split. It's all about this. Listen, I'm going to tell you from what I've noticed in the business, there are 5 things that agents are looking for. They're looking for great training, no matter how long they've been in the business. They want great training, or agents rather want great training. The brokers got to be able to put together a solid training schedule. A lot of times I go to brokers, Jesse, and I say, hey man, show me your training calendar. And they say, well, let me show you the classes I have this week. I go, well, what about next week? What about in 2 weeks? Oh, well, we kind of make the classes as we go. I say, you do that. You got to have a calendar in place with some solid classes. And then I talk to some places, some brokers, and they say, oh, well, we have training on the cloud. Well, training on the cloud means you have recordings. And quite frank, recordings, though they're okay, agents tend to tune out. You got to have that live structured training, and training that forces the agent to get out of their comfort zone and actually do something that's productive to be able to make the money. I think the second thing that brokers need is they need good branding. They need to make sure that they've got an experienced graphic design artist that's putting out good, polished marketing materials, because that broker needs to realize that everything that agent markets for themselves is the window that the client sees that broker through. Third, I'd say you got to make sure you got the right technology. That's where Zippy comes in. And I got to tell you, I got to put a special shout out to Zippy. When we first sat with Zippy and several other platforms to be able to do what we wanted to be able to do, Zippy was the only platform that was willing to go out of their way to try to tailor what we needed to be able to run our company on. And did it take some time? It took some time. But I'll tell you, I will work with a company who takes time to build something and who has great communication skills. You probably don't want me to say this next part on this recording, but my gosh, I had trouble on a Sunday, and your guys reached out and helped my brokers to be able to process deals on Sunday. So third would be technology. The fourth, agents want leads. The broker's got to be able to show a good lead generation platform that's generating some good leads, and the ability for them to be able to manage the leads that they already got in place so that they're converting. And then fifth, which I say fifth, but it's not last, it's probably the number one most important thing, and that's culture. People want to love where they work, Jess. I mean, Jesse, I'm going to tell you, I've heard companies that are launching and they say, well, we don't believe in the brick and mortar offices. And I said, well, maybe you never worked in a good brick and mortar office. But if you worked in a great office that had great camaraderie, great family orientation, that everybody works together and promoting one another, and you lean on each other for support, and it's a happy, positive work environment, I'm going to tell you, I think if you were to poll our agents, and I mean, in 2 years, we've grown over 300 agents in 2 year time frame, and that's with launching a new franchise and everything. So we've done some great things. But if you poll our agents, they probably tell you that culture was probably number one. So I think give them a place that they love to work. As a broker, what are you doing to make it fun, to make that family atmosphere? Every month we do a family fun night. We invite our agents and their spouses and their kids. We rent bowling alleys and Top Golf, and I've rented rooms at big ballrooms at hotels and did self-defense training and just tons and tons of stuff to make it a fun place. Do you know, I've had spouses of agents come in and say, I wish my workplace took care of us the way you take care of your people. And we just want them to have fun.
Wow, that is huge.
Jesse, I got to tell you, we had a big board event at the MLS board, and I was one of the speakers at the event. And I wanted my agents to show up. And, Align Right Realty is obviously a new brand in town. So I said, I want my people to show up, and I want everybody to know who Align Right Realty is. So I rented a stretch limo bus. Now, that's the other thing. Brokers are so afraid to spend money, but I'm going to share with you, brokers need to be forming the right relationships with affiliates to share in some of this type of advertising. So we got a couple of our affiliates together. We all chipped in. We got a limo bus, 40 passenger, and we pulled up to the MLS board, and we got company shirts on, bright orange, says Align Right today for a better tomorrow. And out come 40 agents out of a limo bus. You should have seen, Jesse, all of these agents at the MLS board. They literally were looking through the glass like this, going, what's up with the limo bus? Who's Align Right Realty? So, I tell brokers, I say, listen, you have the ability to just make a huge, huge connection with the real estate community. So, heck, I'll tell you, I'll go public on this, Jesse. If you got folks you work with and they're a friend of yours, even if they don't want to buy a franchise, if they got some questions and want to know some ideas on what they can do to better their brand and better their reputation in the market, you give them my number, bro. I'll give them some suggestions on what they can do to really hit home run. So I know it was a long answer.
Dude, you dropped so many nuggets. Man, no, you dropped so many nuggets there, and I really appreciate the shout out. No, we try really hard to make sure that we do tailor every experience with our clients because we are a newer tech company and we're trying to make a big impact on the industry. So we have to step up that level, and it's one thing that we take pride in, and we don't plan on taking our foot off the gas in that regard either, even as we grow. So thank you for that. Going back to culture, I've been a part of many different companies, many different organizations. And what's funny is the more you get people excited, aligned, pun intended, and happy, they produce more. They're happy. They're working. And you know what? They'll go the extra mile because they feel like they're part of something great. And
that's exactly.
And especially when you're behind them. And here's the one thing, like I've ran brokerage, I've ran offices for other companies, and the one thing that I've always tried to instill upon other brokers, coaches, or other team leaders or agents is if you don't understand what your people's goals are and what they want to achieve, you have no clue how to help them.
That's right.
Right? You got
to have that connection with them. They got to know and feel that you give a darn. And my gosh, brokers, man, be present when you're present. If you're talking with an agent, put this away.
Yes.
If you're talking with an agent, put it down. Don't be in front of your agent like this. Yep. You're not being present when you're present. So I think agents just want to know that somebody cares about them, that somebody cares that what happens to them. I'm going to tell you, Jesse, I've done everything from going out on listing appointments to driving agents home. And I've been to events and had to save a couple of agents who might have had a little too much fun.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're absolutely right, because I think brokers, a lot of brokers and their team, like a broker has to choose and hire the right people, because they have to understand they are the retention system for that company, right? If they're like, oh, our retention sucks, our retention is this, our retention is that, you are the retention. You and your team are the retention. You have to provide value and understand what you can provide to them to help them achieve their goal. And every person is going to be different.
And Jesse, it's funny you talk about that, because I talked to brokers, and I was on the phone with a broker up in the Carolinas, and I said to him, hey man, how's everything going? And he said, I'm good. He said, if I get these agents to get the hell out of my office and go out there and work. And I said, what are you talking about? Get out of your office. He said, well, they come in and they hang out. I said, brother, listen, we have a difference of philosophy. I said, I would rather have them coming in my office to hang out, where I can inspire them and rub off on them, and they can form some camaraderie. I said, man, the last thing I want that agent to do is be home. In fact, Jesse, you've been in the business. I tell brokers all the time, if you haven't seen an agent and they're not coming to the office and they're not utilizing the things that you're offering, I said, you got to check. If you're offering all this technology, I mean, we offer a lot of technology.
Yeah,
Zippy is a great piece of technology, but we even go above and beyond, even past that. But it comes down to, are the agents using it? And that's where brokers have to make sure that's going to fix the retention. Run a scan. Have they logged into their website? Did they set up their website? Did they set up their Realtor.com account, their Paradigm account? Did they put this all together? Because if they're not using it, you're going to lose them.
Yeah.
So I think that in itself would create great retention.
Well, and there's so much that an agent or realtor has to learn. They go to school and they learn how to get their license and how a lot of the terms are. They don't understand how to run a business or how to lead generate or how to market. When I started and when you started, social media wasn't around. Like it was simpler. You pick up the phone and talk to people. You go to networking events, you talk to people. Now it's all about selfies.
There wasn't even an MLS the way it is. It was a book. They dropped you a book every month, and after about 3 weeks, all of the inventory was outdated. So it wasn't even, so I tell agents, I go, listen, we didn't have cell phones when I started. We had pagers. You didn't have the codes. So.
Well, and that's it. It's like there's almost an abundance of way too many things that an agent has to focus on. And the reality is they don't have to focus on it. Like when I started, and I only started in the industry 14 years ago, and I had a free Gmail account. I had a BlackBerry, and I had my coworkers, the football team I coached for, my friends and family, and I started a BNI chapter. I created my own chapter, and I was like, I'm better in person. Right. And so I know that for me to be successful, I had to get in front of people. And that's all I did. I had a spreadsheet and a whiteboard, like literally that's all I did. And grew to a top 5% in my office of like 200 plus agents, like in the first year. And it was more about just talking to people, adding value. And for me, it was, a lot of agents, and I posted something about this a few weeks ago, is Johnny, if an agent doesn't feel like you're ready to buy or sell right now, they're like, okay, I'll forget you. I'm not going to even follow up with you. There's people I added value to for years before they referred me anybody, even bought or sold for me. But when they did, man, you open the floodgates because I kept adding value.
Yep. Contacts equal contracts, man. So
yeah,
that's the name of the game.
So where do you think the industry's going? Like, give me your high level next 5 or 10 years. Like, what's going to happen to today's brokers, to today's realtor?
Well, I'll tell you, with regards to, just kind of touch on something you mentioned before. You said, when agents get in the business, they don't really give them a roadmap of how to be able to get business. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of funny because agents aren't being trained on how to procure new business. They're being trained how to write contracts and how to use the MLS, and which is great once you get business. Yep. But a lot of brokers aren't teaching them to get business. But as the same token, a lot of brokers when I signed up with another franchise, back in the day, I remember going to broker owner training, and it was great training. But the one thing I went to learn how to do was to recruit agents. And thank God I was a recruiter with a previous company. So I had that knowledge already. But I was looking forward to, okay, they're going to show me how to grow this. They showed me how everything functioned once I got agents, but they never showed me how to get them. And I think that's what 9 out of 10 franchises, in my opinion, are doing wrong, is they're giving a platform. They're saying, we give you a platform to run on, Jesse. We're going to give you our name, and we're going to give you our systems. Great. Well, if I ain't got any agents in those systems, what good is it going to do?
Exactly.
I think that's what we did different is we wanted to focus on a high level of recruiting to be able to make sure that they properly branded and they could grow. So where do I see the market going? I'll tell you, I think, it's an election year coming. So I think the market's going to stay pretty strong. I think the outgoing president always wants to see, that the market stays pretty strong. The incoming president, no matter who that is, wants to be able to show that, obviously the market is still staying strong. Mm-hmm. So I think 2020, nobody's got a crystal ball, but I think 2020 is going to be a pretty powerful year. I think 2021 is going to be a powerful year. But do I think we're going to steady? I mean, yeah, I think the market's going to repeat itself, but I don't think we're going to see the crash. I don't think the banking industry is going to allow the types of financing programs that really caused the industry to take a tumble. And believe me, I'm not faulting the banking industry. I love them. I made a lot of money because they put those programs out there. But we, of course, we all paid a little bit of the price for it when the market crashed. So I think we're going to see a level in the market. I think it'll probably go back to more of a normal market of a 2 to 3% increase per year. But right now, I mean, brother, Florida is on sale. I mean, we're moving properties left and right, multiple offers. I mean, if it's priced right, 36 hours, I got 3, 4, 5 offers on it. So it's kicking butt. I think that, where the market's going, traditionally for brokers, there's been two types of models. There's been split companies and there's been 100% companies. And what happens is a lot of agents will start working at a split company because they need that support and they need training and branding and technology and they need those things. And then once they get trained, they tend to want to jump ship and go to a 100% company because they want to keep their money. I get it. And then some make it at the 100%, some don't. And now there's, companies coming out saying, hey, listen, we don't believe in offices at all. And I look at that and I kind of chuckle. I go, well, obviously those guys have never worked in a good office, because if you worked in a good office, the fact I always think, I go, how could you not want an office to go to? I think that's ludicrous. I want a place I can go. It's like Cheers. Remember the show Cheers?
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to go, everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
So I think that 100% companies, I think, are what we're going to start seeing the majority of agents starting to flip to. I think agents are wanting to keep their money. And statistically, 80% of agents drop out of the business in their first 1 to 2 years. And I think a lot of the reasoning behind that is, number one, they give away all their money. I think, and I know I'm going to have a difference of opinion with many, but a lot of agents go on to a real estate team. And though I think a real estate team could be good for some individuals, I think it's bad for most individuals, because most times in a team situation like that, the real estate team is taking 50% of the agent's money, and then the 50% that they're left with, the broker's taking a percentage of that as well. And at the end of the day, that agent's getting about 25 to 30% of the overall commission. And it's hard. If you're giving up that kind of money, it's hard to be able to gain any traction in this business, or better yet, have any money to be able to put towards your marketing or advertising. So I think that from agent standpoints, they need to be careful of going on teams. They believe they're going to get fed. But I always tell agents this who are considering going on a team. If the team leader is going to feed you a lead, did you ever think that maybe that lead wasn't good enough for them and that's why they gave it to you? That's my opinion. So I don't know. I think, these guys, these agents have to learn how to hunt, and they're so afraid of rejection. I think that's the biggest thing, is that just they've got to not take rejection personal. Even brokers, rejection. Just don't take it personal. It's part of, there's an old saying, great sailors weren't made by sailing in smooth, calm seas.
Yep.
A great sailor was made by sailing in rough seas. Great realtors are made by sailing in rough seas. The seas, you've got to take enough rejection, right? Get used to it, and then figure out your ways to overcome the objection and be able to procure a deal. I think, but the general public, no matter who you're working with, they just want to see that your heart's in the right place and that you're not just at it for the money. I think if they can do that, they can accomplish anything.
Man, dude, tons of great nuggets from you, man. So Johnny Loewy, Align Right Realty. Hey, where can they find you, dude? So where can they find you? Where can they find your company? Whoever's listening, if they're like, I need to talk to this guy, or hey, I need to join his company. Like, where can people find you?
They can go to www.alignrightrealty.com, or matter of fact, Jesse, tell them to call me or text me on my cell. If you want to change people's lives and you want to make a real difference in the real estate community and you want to grow a huge office, man, let me know, because I want to help you to accomplish greatness. The only thing I ask in return is pay it forward and just be a good person. I'm ranked Wall Street Journal top 50 realtor in the country. But Jesse, I got a bad health scare that hit me shortly thereafter, and I always say I'm a walking miracle. God has blessed me with the ability to be here today and be able to change people's lives, and I'm not taking it lightly. So I'm going to go ahead and put my cell phone out there. If you want to pop it up on the screen, you can. But guys, my cell phone is 813-743-4663, and the 4663 spells out home. So give me a call, give me a text. If I can help you grow your brand and grow your reputation in your market, man, I'd love the opportunity. Just pay it.
Dude, that's so awesome of you. And man, I love the mindset. I love the inspiration. I love being able to work with you and your company. You and Amber have done some amazing things, and you guys are just like scratching the surface right now. I can't even wait to see what the next 5 years brings for you guys from a company level and just a personal level as well.
Well, Jesse, you heard it here today. In 15 years, we're going to be #1 in the country. So, and I'm excited to have Jesse and the gang at Zippy along for the ride. We're going to do great things together, my brother.
I love it. Yes, sir, man. Thank you. Take care, and we'll get you the recording. We'll send it out to the world, and they'll hear what you have to say.
God bless you, brother. Thank you so much.
Likewise, brother. Bye-bye.
You got it.